On the Precipice. This is another production by Awaken Channel. If you enjoy it, please like and share it, and be sure to subscribe so we get more views. Canada is under attack. You have to realize this by now. We have been infiltrated at the highest level of government. Everyone talking to you on the TV is paid by our infiltrated and or corrupt government. You are told what to think, and you are told what to believe, and you are told how to act, and you obey. Nortel was the most powerful internet company in the world, handling 70% of the world's internet traffic. They were the jewel of the tech world, and they were Canadian. Starting in 2004, Nortel began being infiltrated by the Communist government of China. Using all of the intellectual property stolen from Nortel, Huawei was born. Huawei proceeded to bid against every Nortel opportunity, and using their own technology, by 2009, Nortel was bankrupt. By the way, if you're ever wanting to see the original articles about information I am referring to, I'll be posting them in the comments below. Be sure to check them out. Anyways, back to my story. Canada was the global leader in technology. Now those billions of dollars and ultimately hundreds of thousands of high-paid, highly skilled employees, along with world-leading Canadian technology, now belong to China. Shortly after the bankruptcy of Nortel in 2010, the director of CSIS, 10 years ago, in an unprecedented move, came on CBC News and warned us that our government is being infiltrated by hostile foreign nations. From the very top, our government has been completely infiltrated by the Communist government of China. These senior officials are either directly complicit in the motives of China or are direct agents of the Chinese government and Communist Party. Justin Trudeau has sent hundreds of millions of dollars to China under the guise of climate change and women's health. When the United States backed out of their membership with the World Health Organization, the WHO, Justin Trudeau stepped up and committed the United States near $1 billion commitment. The WHO is a communist China-controlled organization. Trudeau has committed our 5G infrastructure and network contract to Huawei. Yeah, the same Huawei who infiltrated and bankrupted Nortel. Trudeau is literally paying and rewarding China for stealing Canadian technology, stealing billions of dollars from our economy, stealing hundreds of thousands of high-paying jobs from our country. He's also submarining other Canadian tech companies with 5G capabilities, for example, TELUS or Rogers, and handing these contracts and these jobs and the further technological development off the backs of Canadian taxpayers to Communist China. As if this is not bad enough, Trudeau is alienating us from our allies. We are the only Five Eyes nation, the Security Data Sharing Cooperative, who are allowing Huawei into our country and allowing Communist China access to all of our data. As a result, this prompted the U.S. president to threaten to line our borders with U.S. military. Even though the U.S. president has backed off of this threat for now, you must understand the rest of the world is very well aware Canada is falling to Communist China. No one is going to help us if we allow this to happen. Everyone keeps insisting that despite all the science, despite all logic and reason, we must listen to the experts. Okay, but which experts should we listen to? Dr. Tam? Well, how come the last two experts who held Dr. Tam's role in Canada both disagree with her? So, which expert should we listen to? Is Dr. Tam more qualified than both her previous predecessors? The answer is, of course not. The science simply does not support it. These are politically motivated actions. These public health policies are Communist China public health policies. These public health policies are meant to control a population and allow a tyrannical government the ability to take over the economy. These are not Canadian public health policies. A candidate for the Canadian Conservative Party leadership, Derek Sloan, publicly expressed these concerns, re Dr. Tam. For his efforts, he was labeled a racist and was nearly expelled from the party. Although he refused to apologize, he did later back down from his stance and indicate he was not questioning Dr. Tam's loyalty to Canada. Well, I am not Dr. Derek Sloan. I will say it loudly. Dr. Tam is a traitor, and Dr. Tam works directly for Communist China. I don't say this because she's of Asian descent. I say this because she is a traitor. I love and respect all Chinese Canadians loyal to Canada. All of the Chinese Canadians I know are amazing people. They are our friends and neighbors. I do not know Dr. Tam, and I do not want to know her. She needs to resign immediately. In a similar way, Chrystia Freeland is also obviously a traitor. She, however, is white, so I presume I will be labeled a sexist, though being female, instead of a racist in this case. She has been handpicked and placed as the Deputy PM in Canada, and when our current Minister of Finance stepped down as a result of the corruption in our federal government, she was also named Canada's new Minister of Finance. She is on public record stating the economy cannot be resumed unless it is resumed within the framework of her radical environmentalist ideology. Am I the only one asking what public health COVID lockdowns have to do with her environmental ideology? Am I the only one asking why the small business and private sector needs to be destroyed over COVID and public health policies but cannot be resumed until her flagrant socialist economy thinly veiled beneath a radical environmentalist ideology is implemented? Chrystia Freeland is the author of a book called Plutocrats, The Rise of the New Global Super-Rich and the Fall of Everyone Else. It's ironic that her policies are directly destroying everyone else. Small business owners, private sector, etc. The only ones thriving under Dr. Tam's and Chrystia Freeland's policies are the new global super-rich. If you read Chrystia Freeland's book, you would understand. It's pure Marxist rhetoric. Proletariat versus bourgeois. She's an open communist and in all likelihood either directly an agent of Communist China or willingly complicit in Communist China policies. We are seeing the impossible happen in Canada. We are playing identity politics at the highest levels of our government. We are told we are systemically racist, thereby justifying the dismantling of our entire system. We are told some of us have inherent privilege. We are being divided into groups, and those groups are being turned against each other. We have been locked in our homes. We've been forced to wear masks. We've been forced to mask our children. Our small business sector is being obliterated, and the barriers of entry to start a new business have been massively expanded. A significant percentage of the population has been moved to permanent government assistance. Unemployment is soaring, debt is soaring, and our death rate is soaring, and not from COVID. The only people profiting are our government officials and the largest corporations who are all turning record profits, and, of course, the communist government of China. We are told that this is about equity and about fairness, but as these malicious practices have always done anywhere and everywhere they have been implemented, wealth always moves out of the citizens' hands and back into the hands of the few. Did you not hear Chrystia Freeland openly stating her intention to sink the Canadian energy segment and refusing to reopen our economy from COVID lockdowns until we implement her environmentalist strategy? And who do you think will provide all that energy and infrastructure for her new green economy? Communist China, of course. We are watching the communist takeover of our country, and it's not subtle. The world is watching us. Everyone is very well aware what is happening in Canada. Australian scholar Clive Hamilton recently published a book called Hidden Hand, which chronicles how Beijing uses elites in target countries to extend its influence and control. He says, and I quote, Beijing's promotion of election candidates it controls most advanced in Canada. Maybe you should ask yourself why the media is doing nothing except talking about infection rate and divisive identity politics. They can't even discuss death rates anymore as no one is dying, at least not from COVID. So they switched the narrative to stop the spread to keep you scared and compliant. Why do you not know about the massive infiltration by Communist China into our government when the rest of the world is well aware of this and state it matter-of-factly? The Communist government of China either owns via subsidiaries or by influence massive chunks of our media. The same media that is funded with our tax dollars. The same media which drives horrific public health policies, has you masking your children, and has us playing Marxist and communist identity politic ideologies against each other. Ask yourself how Canada got here and so quickly. Ask yourself why Canada is implementing communist China public health policies. Ask yourself why Canada is outsourcing all of our technology in the upcoming 5G network infrastructure and deployments to Huawei and Communist China. You thought Facebook selling data to advertisers was unacceptable? What do you think China will be doing with all of your data? Ask yourself how Canada has spiraled to a $1.2 trillion debt owned by, you guessed it, Communist China. Ask yourself why a significant portion of that $1.2 trillion debt was sent to China under the guise of climate change or women's health, and now we also owe China that money plus interest within our debt. Ask yourself why Canada sold all of our gold and gold mines to Communist China. Now, ask yourself what happened to Hong Kong. First thing the Communist government of China did was infiltrate Hong Kong at the highest levels. Remember their rhetoric? 2 systems, 1 country? They then marketed, via their government-controlled mass media, justifications for their army to be present on Hong Kong soil. Ironically enough, Justin Trudeau, under the FIPA, Foreign Investment Protection Act, signed in 2019, has approved that the Communist government of China is permitted security forces on Canadian soil without requiring Canadian knowledge or consent. The validation is to protect Chinese government-owned assets, meaning their Huawei assets in Canada. So effectively, we allowed Huawei to steal Nortel technology, bankrupt them, sell that technology back to us, and now guard those assets on our soil with their military. Remember the free Hong Kong memes all over Facebook? Well, Hong Kong is effectively gone. All the leaders of the Hong Kong Free Press who would not comply are gone. They have been disappeared. All of the organizers of the protests are gone. They have been disappeared. This is what's happening in Canada right now. We will be the next communist state of China, no different than Hong Kong, and everyone in the world knows this except us. Communist China does not tolerate freedom. And although communists always penetrate with verbiage like privilege or systemic racism or diversity and inclusion, you must understand these are just weapons to seed division, fear, and hate. Once they take control, the first thing they do is imprison or kill the groups and ethnicities they do not like. Right now in China, approximately 1 million Muslim Uyghurs have been imprisoned in internment camps and are used as slave labor. Now ask yourself, despite all rhyme or reason, despite all science, despite everything Canada stands for, why are you taking orders from people and organizations who are owned and controlled by Communist China? They have no real power today. Even with an infiltrated media, even with infiltrated high-ranking government officials, they have no power today. That is why the media keeps pumping fear and division down our throats 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You must do the exact opposite of everything the media tells you to do. Demand elections and clear out these infiltrated traitors from our government. Insist the new government stands up to China. Insist the new government shows loyalty to our allies and realigns with our allies. Ensure our new government kicks Huawei out of Canada and works to build up TELUS and Rogers to compete with them. Ensure the new government ends the FIPA agreement we have signed with China. Or do you honestly think that the U.S. will protect us once China has soldiers all over our country and once they have occupied and destroyed us like they did to Hong Kong? Finally, insist the new government stops funding our media with our tax dollars. We need a real free press to dilute the flagrant propaganda Communist China is force-feeding us Why is our tax-funded media spending so much time turning us against our U.S. allies? Have you never asked yourself that question, not even once? Why are our media pushing identity politics so heavily? Why are our media pushing communist China public health policies so heavily? Why are they pushing Huawei so heavily? The Communist government of China has infiltrated many countries. Every country is dealing with this and fighting in their own way and to various degrees. No one is coming to help us. We are on our own. Other countries are fighting back. Canada is not. Are we simply going to surrender? We are on the precipice of disaster, and like lemmings, it seems we will soon go over the edge. Take off your masks. You look ridiculous. Stop living your life in fear, because soon you will be living your life in chains. Wake up. Help others wake up. Speak up. Stop letting the left speak louder than you. Stand up for Canada. This Chinese communist infiltration must end now.